This is Andi Purewal of Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I am joined by... I'm joined by potentially the next star of the professional boxing scene in the UK, Ben Whittaker, the surgeon. Ben, obviously been trying to do this interview for a while. I've obviously been away a lot. You've had your own stuff going on, been away in the Olympics, and since then, obviously teeing up what you're going to be doing in the pro ranks. But it's good to do this firstly, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. Since I turned pro, it's a lot of talking, but you know, it's just part of the game.
Well, unfortunately, you've got a big mouth, mate, so it should come naturally to you. The purpose of his interview back when we first said we was going to do was to kind of reflect on your journey. I know you've got a training session ahead, so we'll try and keep it brief, but it'll be a lot more difficult because there's a lot to catch up on. So as kind of a starting point, Ben, let's just go back to last summer, going out to the Tokyo Olympics, coming back with a silver medal. Firstly, just talk to me about the experience of being out there. What was it like travelling over during the pandemic? No fans. How did you find it?
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was bittersweet, really. It's quite good because we go to a lot of places in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, you name it, and there's nobody there other than you, your coaches, and the opponent. And the Olympics was the same, but watching things like London 2012 and Rio, seeing the crowd, the atmosphere, that's what I was like expecting. And you walk out and I was like, what's going on here? But it was one of those, it was a spar, so there was no nerves, there was nothing involved, so it was one of those. I just got on with the job and come back with a medal.
How difficult was it being out there and not having your family, more importantly, Ben? Because I know how much of a key role they've played in taking you to all of your amateur bouts. Your dad's pushed you relentlessly throughout your career. And, you know, I know you don't like talking about it, obviously, the dance lessons that he kind of encouraged you to have earlier on in your life. Did you feel like they missed out as much as what you did because it was an important moment for you all as a family?
Yeah, like you said, they missed out if anything, because me, like I said previously, going to all these tournaments, you always just go with Team GB. So my dad and mum and people like that couldn't make it, but the Olympics is kind of once in a lifetime, and my daddy's always put the hours in to get me to that point, so it would have been nice for him, especially to see me on the podium. I'd have probably put it on my neck then, you know what I mean? But it would have been nice because like he works 2 jobs. He sacrifices his time for me when I was a kid, taking me places here and there for sparring and things, so it would have been nice for him to see me live up to that moment.
How much interaction did you have with your family back home, and obviously your dad as well, when you was competing, going through the rounds? Was he still critiquing you? Was he still messaging you, be like, you've got to start doing this, you've got to do that?
Yeah, 100%. When we're with Team GB, we have this video analysis where you sit down, look at the opponent, this, that. And all they used to pretty much say to me was, don't showboat. And the person who used to really like give him a tactics was my dad or Joby. My dad would look at the opponent on YouTube and break him down. And I would just take everything my dad would say. But it was like, the first one I won, everybody was like, that's a beautiful performance. My dad was like, that was rubbish, man, what was that? Second one, beat the kid pretty easy, looked good. My dad was like, nah, you need to do more than that. Medaled in the next fight, because if you want to get to a gold medal, you need to do more than that. So I beat the Russian. He still had a few things to say. You need to punch more, you need to do this and that, but that's what makes me better, having someone like that. You don't need a yes man who's always going to just go, oh, you're doing great. You need someone who's going to want the best out of you. So I was pretty happy he was critiquing me, so that's what I do.
Obviously, you came back with the silver medal, unsuccessful in the final bout, Ben. People will always remember your post-fight interview where you shown your raw emotion. You showed how devastated and gutted you was that for somebody who'd spent so long on that amateur cycle, you wasn't able to deliver that gold medal that you had your eyes and your dreams set upon. Just go back to that. Firstly, just reflect on the fight for me and your performance.
Yeah, it was weird. I was fighting Arlen Lopez, someone I used to look up to from when I was a kid, like 2014, 15, when I wasn't even a Team GB member. I always used to study the Cubans and the top level amateurs, and he was someone I always used to watch. So to fight someone like that, it was pretty weird because idols become rivals, as they say. But in the fight, it was just one of them. I'm not a person who's gonna say make excuses. The better man won, you know what I mean? It was a close fight. I knew those things I should have done, but when you're in there, it's different. And then going on to the medals type of thing, there's so much to it. I had a few injuries in the back of my mind, so that upset me. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If I didn't have the injuries, could I have done something? And then, like you said, you've just lost one of the biggest things in your life. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to come back, change your clothes, go straight out. So the loss is still there. And not only that, because it was COVID, they didn't actually put the medal on your neck. They gave it you in your hand, then you have to put it on. And it just felt a bit embarrassing for me to, I've just lost, put it on myself. I thought, nah, I'll just hold it in my hand. And it got crossed over as, oh, he's being a spoiled brat, this, that, but people who know me and people who are winners, they get what it is.
It's something which SugarHill's pointed out, and we will come back to your relationship with Sugar, but he said that one thing which stood out for him was when he was first kind of made aware of you, he loved seeing your raw emotion when you lost, because he wants to work with winners. He don't want to work with people who are happy to be runners up. He don't want to work with people who are like, I fought for a world title. He wants to work with the world champions. He wants to make them. So is that something which for you just gelled so well when you originally started speaking to him?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I went to all different camps, and there was all top level coaches, had world champions in the camps and things like that. But for me, it was just, he's a winner, I'm a winner. And he really liked what I did there. And like I said, back in the day at school, if I was doing the egg and spoon race and I come third, I'm probably beating up the kids who won. You know what I mean? That's who I am. And I think if you're in this game to just come up, runners up, or see how you can get on, you're in the wrong sport, man. You need to be the best. And that's why I respect people like Canelo, because he's trying to make those risks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do to be the best.
We'll touch on Sugar a bit more in a bit, but just to kind of go back to that summer, coming back with the silver medal, Ben, and then obviously the world is still your oyster. What was going through your mind when you was making that journey back to the UK? Was you already immediately thinking about the pro game? You wanted to look at managers before you obviously teamed up with 258 and trainers and what have you? Was it already going through?
The first thing for me was food, man. Eat as much as possible. And not only that, I had to get my surgery for my injury, so that was all that. But luckily enough, I was in a good position where even before the Olympics, people wanted to sign me and try and get me on the roster. But I was pretty clued up. I thought, if they're trying to get me then, and I've not even medalled, what about if I medal? And as soon as I medalled, my phone, my dad's phone, people calling us that we'd never heard of. It was a bit too much to intake, really, but it was quite humbling at the same time as well. But for me, it was just get my surgery done, get myself back moving, back punching again, and then we take things from there.
So obviously, it's been some time since last summer, Ben, for you to kind of make your decision as to what you wanted to do on a manager front, on a promoter front and what have you. Obviously that's all agreed now, but I know you had your surgery, but what else kind of made you take so much time to make up your mind as to which way you wanted to
go? You know what, I just took it, at the end of the day, it's a business now. It's not like, oh, your friends and this, that. Everyone's going to try and make the money out of you, and you have to try and make the money out of them too. So the first things first, I got a good lawyer, man. Because everybody can wish you the world and do this, but when the contracts come out, it's critical times. And if you put that pen to paper, you threw your life away, man. So I saw some weird things in contracts. So I just got a good lawyer in place. Then I started seeing the money coming in. I thought, whoa, I need an accountant. So I got a good accountant. Then I got my management team in place who can just sort things for me, like my trips, and organise things for me, because I'm my mummy's boy, man. So my mum always organises stuff for me. Then after that, it come to the crunch time with all the promoters, and I had everybody you can think of. It was like they offer something, someone else offers something. It was ridiculous. It was like ping pong. By the end of the day, I came to the decision, just for the simple fact I want to start fighting now. I've been dragging my heels. I'm 24. Time don't wait for nobody now. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's start off with just 258, and then we'll touch on the promoter front, Ben. What made you team up with him, and how much of an influence did Anthony Joshua have? Because I know Joby had previously worked with him, your godfather, who's still working with you now. What made you obviously team up with 258?
I had a lot of people invested into me, like manager-wise, calling up my dad and telling me things. And it was always weird. He was like, people was like, oh, 258, they don't really know boxing too much and stuff. But at the end of the day, if I've done what I've done, the promoter don't want me to lose anyway, so they're going to look after me. And not only that, I knew 258 since before the Olympics, way back. They used to talk to me, they've watched me spar, and I just get on with them. Do you know what I mean? And not only that, they've got connects in like the commercial side and stuff like that. And I got the luck to go down that route, so I thought it just makes sense. And I've got a good coach like SugarHill and Joby, you know the boxing side, so I'll just leave the boxing side to them.
Let's now move on to the promoter front, Ben. I've obviously spoken to Eddie Hearn on numerous occasions in interviews, brought it up as to kind of if he'd spoken to you, if he felt like something was close, and he was just always kind of saying things are still ticking over, basically. I think at one point he was confident that he had actually kind of got something tied up. Talk to me about making your mind up on the promoter front. In the end, it seemed to be between Eddie and Sky. Just talk to me about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was like Frank, I was talking to Frank, now I was talking to like Top Rank, and then I was talking to Sky, obviously, Eddie, And he was just like, bloody hell, it was all selling the world to me, do you know what I mean? He was like, truthfully, I like Top Rank. The shows put on are good, but I'm an English boxer, so me being out there, I might get through under the water type of thing. I might get lost like an go-go. And then if you look at it, Sky's with Top Rank, so it ties in. Eddie, he puts on the biggest shows for me, but the Zone hasn't got the platform. And then Frank shows wasn't just for me. They looked after me well, to be fair, probably one of the best. Like, they got cars from my house to the venues, hotels, you name it, but it just wasn't for me. And all it came down to me for was who's going to have the most platform for my first couple of years, who's going to, the armchair fans, the football fans, who will see me. And for me, it was just Sky, you know what I mean? So that's why I went with them.
I'm going to quickly change my battery because that seems, for some reason, it's about to die. Picking that back up, Ben, my battery was about to die on one of my, that's it, technical difficulties. Obviously, speaking about promoters there, as I said, I was always asking Eddie about it, I asked Ben Shalom about it. Two very different characters. Frank Warren, a different character as well. Top Rank, Bob Arum, they're all different. But just on kind of a Matchroom and Sky comparisons, what was it like to deal with Eddie or Ben Shalom?
Yeah, it was weird. He was like, Eddie's a proper businessman. He's a car salesman, man. He sells the dream, and he's like, whoa, swear. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a person who's like level-headed, even though like I'm flashy on Instagram, this, that. I've got my wits about me. So I did all the big shows he was telling me. I was like, okay, that's at the back of my mind. Where can I get? And then Ben Shalom, he's a new cat, but he's funny. He's roughly my age. We got on. He took me to New York. We got on. So it was two different type of scales, but they both had the same type of vision for me. They both were selling the dream, and there's nothing bad about both of them because they both was trying to get me and they was trying to do the best for me. So it's one of them.
Ben, I'm having a few problems here. Ben, I was just kind of going back into it and picking it back up. Just compare for me kind of the Sky and the Zone platforms, when we're looking at the Eddie and Ben Shalom comparisons. Eddie works with the Zone, Ben Shalom with Sky. Just talk to me about that and what were your thoughts when you compared them?
Like I said, the Zone have all the fighters. Like the other day, they got GGG and freaking Canelo, all those type of people. But for me, the main standout point was I went to the Boatsi Richards fight the other day, and the turnout wasn't as good as it should have been. If you look at, what's his name, Akoli v Chamberlain, the turnout there was ridiculous, and I was like, these are the type of shows I want to be on. But looking back at this show now with the Richards and Boatsi, it was a shame for them, to be fair, because the turnout for what type of fight it wasn't there. Where Sky, with the platform they've got, they've probably not got the fighters now, but the turnout's mad. Do you know what I mean? So it just shows what type of platform Sky is and what they can do. And not only that, I've got the cross-platform with Top Rank now, where I can still go over in America and fight. So it was a no-brainer.
Away from kind of a promoter front then, Ben, let's touch on the training situation. I've probably talked about it far too much. I'll put you in touch with Mr. SugarHill, so I'm the link there, so I expect my cut from that paycheck when it comes in from Sky. But obviously, just joking aside, Ben, talk to me about the guys who you had gone out with. I saw on your Instagram you went and teamed up with Bomac for a little bit. Who else that you're willing to, or you're open to talking about, did you go and spend some time with?
Yeah, man, Bomac was sick, and truthfully, it was like close between him and Sugar. I really liked him. I loved the strength and conditioning coach called Chet. And then he was around people like the Crawfords, the Keyshawn Davises, people like that. So you're going to learn and pick up from them. But the setup with them was just a bit different because Sugar can come to me. And I can go over to Sugar when I need and stuff like that. Where Bomac, he's got so many, you have to stay over there. And it's one of those things. Me starting in my career, Sky want me to stay here and build my profile. So it just wasn't timing for that. And I went down to Shane McGuigan's place. Shane, class coach. But for me, there's just a bit too many people. Do you know what I mean? I got like an hour of his time. Even though it's probably just because I was there for the week. But I only just got an hour of his time, pads, then he's straight on to the next one. Where Sugar, I can have his full time. And I've got Joby working with him. So to me, it was just a no-brainer. It was good. And when I went over there, just made it feel like home. Bless him. He was picking me up from my house, taking me for food, taking me to the beach. He was like proper home. He was like a dad for my dad. So it was nice.
What's your dynamic like? Because I've gotten to know Sugar very well over the last couple of years. So for you, what is Sugar like away from the gym?
He's funny, man. He's funny, but he's serious. When it's work time, it's work time. And like what I like about him is an old school teacher. So when I first got there, I didn't know what to expect really. I was a bit nervous about. I don't want to look like an idiot, man. He's worked with some top people, so he was working. He goes, just have fun, man. So I was doing my stuff, and he liked what he saw. Then the next few sessions was a bit more grueling, not hard on your body, but just for your concentration. He got me on the bag and was just doing about 100 jabs, and every time I got it wrong, I had to start again. I was like, oh my days, this is long, man. Or he got me on the pad and I had to hit the circle, and we're all elite boxers, but when you have to keep hitting that spot 100 times, I kept missing a couple times, straight back to one. He was like 1, 2, 3, back to, I was like, oh my god. But that's what makes a fight, and seeing that, I thought, okay, he takes it serious, and he always picks up on the little things, which I liked. Where some places I went, they was already treating me as a complete fighter, which I know I'm not. I need to work on things and add to things, and he's going to take that time to do that for me.
We know what Sugar wants. He wants knockouts. He wants aggressive fighters. It's not something which necessarily you've been known for through your amateur days. You're very fleet-footed, difficult to pin down. How does Sugar want to approach kind of his training with you and instilling his methods into you without taking away your phenomenal skill set?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I liked as well. He said, at your weight category, either if it's super middle or light heavy, there's not many who can move like you. There's not many who's got the tallness like you. There's not people who's got speed like you. So I don't want to take that away. I want to keep that. But I want you to keep that, then slip, boom, add a power shot into it, stuff like that. So all it is just adding to my game, keeping the Ben Whittaker type of style and flair, but adding a bit of venom to it now.
One thing which I just wanted to loop back to is I remember seeing you in New York last year, and we was kind of having a catch-up out there, and I remember you saying to me you'd been there for 2 days, you was already missing home. Yeah. You mentioned the importance for you of having Sugar being willing enough to come over to train in the UK. I know you'll be willing to go over to the US, but how important of a factor was it for you to know that if you need to, you can train back home, because you love your home comforts, as you've said, you're a mommy's boy. So how important was that for you?
Yeah, it's one of them. It's like I love home. Nothing beats it. But I know when it's work time, I've got to do everything I can to make it work. So when I was on Team GB, I lived in Sheffield. We went all across the world. So I'm kind of used to it. It's just I miss home cooking, man. But like even this camp, I was willing to go over to Miami and work out there. But Sky wanted to build up the profile and things like this at home. But for me, what I'm going to do is after this fight, as soon as I finish this fight, go to camp with him over in Miami or Vegas, and just learn over there. So that's what I'm going to do.
You say willing to go over to Miami and Vegas. Look, it's a bad choice, man.
Yeah. You know what? It was weird because people was like, yo, you don't want to go to Miami, you know. Miami, if you go to this place, is, you know what I mean, you might get distracted. So I was expecting all types of craziness, like beauty and everything. I went there, and I'm like, where Sugar is? He's just in the middle of nowhere, man. I was like, oh my God, typical for me to go to Miami, and there's nothing here, but that's what it's about, man. Cut out the distractions and nice sun, nice weather. So it just makes sense.
Ben, obviously, when Sugar comes back over, then how will your camp look? Whereabouts exactly are you looking to train? And yeah, it talks about the influence of having Joby in camp as well. How is their dynamic going to work? Yeah,
it's sick, really. So when he comes over, we've got so many locations we can train in: Wolverhampton, Birmingham, maybe up Morecambe where Tyson used to train. So we've got that little link there, and there's a couple of gyms in Manchester we can jump into as well. And the connection with him and Joby is pretty good because Joby, if anyone knows Joby, he's grew up on the Cuban and the Kronk style. So me, I've always grew up watching the Tommy Hearns and the Gerald McLennans from a Joby. And then you get in the main Kronk man, meeting Joby, he was a Kronk fanatic. It just made sense. I was like, this is the perfect link up. So they're singing off the same hymn sheet, and it just makes me a happier boxer. I know you've been asked about it previously, Ben, but what's the ideal route now you're going to take at the beginning of your career? How quickly do you want to progress? Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of them. It's up to, that's why I've got a good management team, and that's why I've got the promoters behind me. It's down to them, really. All I can do is just turn up and fight, and down to Sugar and whoever they want to pick me to fight. All I can do is just train in the gym, do what I need to do, leave no stone unturned. Whoever's in the opposite corner, I fight, really. But I want to be in between, if that makes sense. I don't want to rush too crazily, and I don't want to drag my heels, because I'm 24 still. There's still learning and things to be done. But on the other end, I'm 24, where there's people like Devin Haney, who's a world champion. So I've got to try and push but stay back, push but stay back. Would you ever, or have you considered for the next Olympics
going back in there, trying to re-enter? Because I know that it's been spoken about that in Britain now that they're going to allow that professionals to turn back over into the amateur routes for the Olympics for coming around now. Would you be open to that? Have you considered it?
Truthfully, my personal opinion, I don't like that, what they've done there, bringing pros into it. I just don't think it's fair for the amateurs, because the Olympics is the amateur sport. It's for people like me who came from the grassroots, dreaming about that type of situation. That's the way. Then you turn pro. For a pro to, because pros have been amateurs before, and to me it's their chance of not doing it, then they can come back. It's just not fair, really. So I think they should cut that rubbish out, really. They should just leave it to the amateurs, and when you're done with the amateurs, turn pro. But you know what the world's like now. It's all over the place.
When you look at your pro career, Ben, and what's about to come, in some of your interviews you said you take the Dan Aziz fight within 5 fights, obviously the current British champion. Is that something you stand by? Would you be happy within 5 fights if that's presented to you? Step right in there?
Yeah, man, I don't really mind. Like I said, my style, I can't really see many people handling my style. But I like that, because a lot of people say, oh, Dan, what are you calling that? Dan is a nice guy. Truthfully, he's a nice guy. My dad talks to him now and again and things like that. I've got nothing against him. More so is the title. So whoever had the title, I would have called out. If it was damn Sonic the Hedgehog or the Great Carly, I was calling them out. You know what I mean? So I got nothing against him. But if it is him, we'll fight him. But it's one of those. I'm starting out my career. He's obviously going to try and push on for bigger things. It's too much of a risk for him to try and take someone like me where he could hinder his career. So maybe down the road, like a Boatsi and Richards, we can get it on. But if it is the 5th fight, it's the 5th fight.
What weight do you want to fight at? Because there's obviously been a lot of talk whether you can be light, heavy or super middle. How are you feeling about it?
I'm one of them. It's weird. It's like I don't really put a lot of weight on. And I'm big for both weights. Even though I'm a bit skinny and I look like a beanpole, when I get in there, I do tower over people. I'm walking around at like 83 kilos, so I can make light heavyweight easy, or I can make it down to a big super middle. It's whatever I feel, really. I just got to cut out the Krispy Kremes and that odd little hot chocolate from Costa and stuff like that, and then we can see where you're at. But I've got my nutritionist on board. I'm eating clean now, and the weight's looking like it's falling off. So whatever it ends up at fight night, I'll just jump in there.
Ben, you mentioned obviously the likes of Joshua Boatsi and Craig Richards earlier on. How far off in your career do you feel you are from maybe facing one of those? I know obviously you haven't even made your pro debut yet, but just to put it out there, you know, I spoke to Josh before the Richards fight, and I mentioned your name, and I just said to him, one day, and he said, potentially, yeah, because you guys coming through are the ones who are going to want him. Ideally, you'd think he'd have a world title by then to make that fight.
Yeah, I think it would be good for 258, because that's 2 incomes coming in right there. Do you know what I mean? But respect to both of them, because they both put it on the line. They could have easily went a different route. You see this domestic scene, not a lot of people like to take that risk now, where fair play to them to took that risk. But I think down the line, way down the line, when there's a couple of titles on the line, me and Boatsi will be a great fight. It'll be one where people turn out, it'll be like, and and who's going to win this and that. We've done rounds from when he was getting ready for the Olympics, when I was getting ready for the Olympics, so we know each other really well. And you know what, I've never got a bad word to say about him, because when I was turning pro, I asked his advice on a few things and he's helped me out. So he's a nice guy, but like we both know, it's just business. If it does happen down the road, it happens.
I know you won't ever say anything to badmouth him, but what can you tell us about those sparring sessions?
Hey, he was one of those, man. We had some good ding-dongs, man. He knows how good it was. People who was watching knows how good it was. And if that was a fight you'd pay to watch, man, that's some pay-per-view work, you know what I mean?
Ben, I'm interested to know what your thoughts on, I'm sure you've seen the comments that people might feel you'll be a Marmite character within the sport. What are your thoughts on that?
100%, man. I'm annoying. I'm super annoying. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was playing with my mate on Call of Duty yesterday, and I was camping, and I went 3 kills up, and the whole game I was like singing, like proper annoying him, and he goes, "You're annoying. You're a dickhead." This, that, and he signed off and went up. But that's what type of person I am. I'm always trying to get under people's skin and this and that. It's just who I am. I'm a cheeky lad. Do you know what I mean? So if they like me and they get me, fair enough. If they hate me, fair enough. As long as they come and watch me, that's what that matters.
I didn't get any of that trash talk when I was beating you at FIFA, mate.
No, I've upped my game now. I've got the PS5. The pad's different, because the pad, what was we playing? Xbox.
Xbox, yeah.
See, I'm a PlayStation person, do you know what I mean? So Have you got an Xbox still?
No, I've got a PlayStation. I've always had a PlayStation as well, so that excuse don't fly.
I think I got Xbox, man. I think I got Xbox. Yeah, I've got Xbox. I ain't got a PlayStation. If you want it tonight, let's go, man. You know what I mean? But I'm more of a Call of Duty man. So.
Listen, I don't play Call of Duty, but from your FIFA, from what you produced on when we played FIFA, mate, I don't think I've got anything to worry about on a gaming front with you.
That was critical, man. What was the score again?
Which one? but I think the biggest one was 9-1 to me.
You know what? I was just letting you feel nice because it was in my house, and I was wanting.
That's why I gave you a consolation goal when you gave you something.
I wanted you to get confident. You know what I mean, for the interview. You know what I mean.
We took place after the interview, Ben. Ben just obviously got kind of sticking with the boxing talk. When you look at the currency in super middle, light heavy, by the time you reach where you want to in your sport, there's one name in particular, Canelo Alvarez, who, despite his most recent defeat at Dimitri Bivol, is still high up on people's pound-for-pound lists. Do you ever think about maybe one day you could cross paths?
People say it to me. It's weird, but like me, I'm just taking it fight by fight. I'd love to fight him just to see how good he really is. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not unbeatable as he's shown. He's lost 2 now, drawed 2, so it's not like he can't be beat. He struggles with boxers. The Irish Landy Laras, I thought he could have nicked it. Caleb Plant was doing very well, but didn't have the experience in my eyes. So he obviously struggles with boxers. So if it did happen down the road, I wouldn't mind a pocket full of change and to beat him and take his belts. But one of them, I don't know, because when I get there, will he be old enough and things like that? That's the thing. I'm in that position where when I get there, he will be there. So it'll be exciting to see who will actually be there.
What do you make of his trilogy bout with Gennady Golovkin and him opting to do that instead of the Dimitri Bivol rematch?
Truthfully, I don't really like the GGG fight. Just for the fact he's 40 years old now, and it just don't make sense to me. But like, when you got a payday like that, it's probably too hard to turn down. And I thought he won the first one, so he probably wants to try and get revenge. But I can't see it happening. But to me, I've seen online. Did you see that Paul Imaginary thing about it was a cherry pick gone wrong? I truthfully think it was, because you got people like Charlo, Benavidez, who are killers at the weight, and he didn't want to go through them. And then if you look at the light heavyweight, you've got Beterbiev, who's a killer, man. Do you know what I mean? You got that Joe Smith, and them two are fighting. So the other person out there, after the Richardson performance, you probably think, oh, yeah, I'll take Bivol. If Richards is giving him problem like that, me, Canelo, I'll beat him. He got in there and it was completely different, you know what I mean? So to me, it was probably a cherry pick gone wrong. It was probably, oh, he's won another world title at light heavy and this went wrong. He probably thought, forget that, man, I'm going back down. And if you look at it now, GGG was it's a big name, this, that, but on paper, it probably doesn't bring as much threats as the others, because if you watch him in Japan, he didn't look like the old Triple G. He didn't look that good, to be fair, but I'd like GG to win just for the first one. And I felt a bit shamed for him, you know what I mean? I was like, you know what I mean, all the work he's put in, but when you're the cash cow, that's what happens, you know what I mean?
What do you make of Beterbiev and Smith Jr.?
That fight, I think Beterbiev would knock him out, you know what I mean? Styles met fights, and Smith, all he can do is walk forward and swing, and that's a field day for someone like Beterbiev. But like I said, when I get there, he'll probably be gone. What is he, 35? 35, 36, and the way he fights, it's not like he don't get hit, do you know what I mean? And he looks like a 36-year-old, he looks old, you know what I mean? So when I get there, he'll probably be done, but I'd love to get some rounds with him sparring, see how hard he actually hits. Because he's banging them out, man, it don't make sense. He's jabbing them, they're falling over. I need some of that strength.
I wouldn't envy that spar, Ben. But also, just on Dimitri Bivol, where do you actually rank him now in that light heavyweight division? Because of his win against Canelo, is he number one, or is he going to be the winner of Beterbiev Smith Jr., who ranks as number one?
Yeah, I think I don't really rate Smith too much. He's a world champion, but I don't know who he's really fought, really. He's fought Bivol, hasn't he? And he lost. So I put Bivol above him. To me, it's Beterbiev, Bivol, then Smith, and then everyone else is like fighting for that next spot, really. That's the thing. Everyone keeps saying to me, do you want to rush and go for the world title? You have to be realistically. There's a backlog of people waiting. You've got Yard still waiting. You've got Callum Smith, all those type of people waiting. Boatsi now waiting. So what am I going to do? Stand there and wait as well. I want to get as many fights as I can, so when I do get there, the title's ready for me.
What was it like seeing the rest of the GB lot who had gone out to the Olympics, or the guys who didn't, or girls who didn't go to the Olympics, but you'd been on the podium team with, watching them turn over as professionals and going through the pro ranks whilst you were still making your mind up? Did you feel frustrated? Did it make you want to rush your decision, or did you feel differently?
It was weird, man, because I was just watching him eating Five Guys and stuff. So I was like, fair play to him, especially like one of my good mates, Galal and Fraser. I was happy, and like it was weird because it was a couple of years back. We'd sit in the flats and go, I can't wait to go pro, man. The ring walks, this, that. Was all talking it through, and then when I see them living the dream that they was talking about, it's nice to see. And I was just waiting for like when it's gonna be my turn, I'm gonna do this and do that. So all I gotta do is just go and do it now. Do you know what I mean? But I was proud for all of them. They've all got the deals they wanted. They're all in positions we've always talked about, so it's good to see we're all coming from the amateurs where people don't watch us to everybody watching us now.
What have you made of Galal's quick start? He's gone straight in for a title fight at 10 rounds. He's had 2 fights now, one here and one in New York. Just what have you made of his quick fast tracking, if you'd go with that?
You know what, Galal, I remember when I used to go to tournaments with him, he used to just walk through kids, you know what I mean? And I'm happy he's getting the recognition he deserves now, because back in the day, it was always the Pat McCormacks, Peter McGrail, sometimes me, sometimes Fraser. He didn't really talk about Galal, and the stuff he used to do and the titles he used to win, he was untalked about. It was a shame, but fair enough, he's got the gold medal now, and it's made it, he's got that exposure now, and he's living up to what he can actually do. He walked through his first kid, walked through his second kid, and he's shown what type of talent he's got, so I'm happy for him, man. It's good.
What would you make of a fight between him and Sonny Edwards?
You know, I like both of them. I like Sonny because he's very elusive, this, that. But Galal, man. Galal over 12 rounds. I'm probably just itching for Galal, man. But it would be a fight I'd like to see. You know what I mean?
Ben, outside of a boxing ring, obviously, I know music's a big passion of yours. How are you going to look to kind of balance that? Is it something which you just want to do as a hobby? Is it something you see yourself doing maybe a bit more permanently when you eventually leave the sport? You've still probably got 10 years left in boxing, but, you know, how... Talk to me about your music career rather, and what you want to do with that.
Yeah, so like you said, for me, boxing's the key and the thing that's got me in this position. But as a little escape route and something just to take my mind off things is music, because you see kids nowadays, they either give 100% in the gym or 100% in the pub. Do you know what I mean? Where I don't drink, I don't do anything like that. So my little activity or hobby or pleasure I get out of life is doing music. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to start dropping some more music on Grime Daily. Now I've got a bit of a platform. I think I might get Premiere, so we're laughing, man. And I'd like to do like a wireless, something like that, like a wireless festival. If I can do something like that, even if I'm in one of them little tents, man, if I can do something like that, yeah, we'll tick that off the bucket list, man. That'll be sick.
When you look at what Lawrence Okoli's done on a music front, do you want to go down a similar route as him? And obviously he's released singles. Is it something which you've thought about?
Yeah, I've released singles.
I know you've released singles, but like how he's managed to obviously juggle that with boxing more so on a professional front. Yeah,
he's killing it, man. You know what I mean? But you know what we need to do? We need to get a boxer sound clash, man, and go 1 for 1 against each other. Like, what was it back in the day? It was... Do you know what I'm about? With Skepta and Devilman and all that used to do. We need to load of the mics. Yeah. We need to load of the mics for the boxers. And I know I'm coming out as one of the best heavy hitters, rappers. Do you know what I mean? So somebody set that up. You know, whoever's got the platform on YouTube, set that up. And we
you don't need to say it anymore. It's going to be on Boxing Social, mate. That's it.
Okay, Boxing Social, set that up. And just not put Benzo in there. Hit the beat and we go hard.
All right, we'll work on that one then, Ben. It was a good idea. Yeah, you've given me a good idea.
Boxing load of the mics, that'd be sick.
I'm going to pitch that and I'm going to take all the credit. Cheers, mate. Ben, obviously, just before kind of we wrap things up, people will be eager to know when you'll be making your pro debut. When are you looking to get out?
I think early July, like the first week or second week of July is the debut. So when I finally get the news and the go-ahead, put it in your calendars, tune in. And see a star born, man.
I'm sure there's plenty of other things we can touch on, but I know that Joby's been sat outside for about half an hour, 40 minutes.
He's probably doing some yoga stretches, man, so if anything comes on your mind, just say it, man.
Well, Ben, I was going to wrap up, but when you look at kind of what you want to achieve in boxing, what's your ultimate hope or dream? What do you want to do within the sport? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Truthfully, I just want to... Like I said, if you talk to people, they always talk about the greats and the old school, the throwback fighters. the Nigel Benns, Eubanks. I just want to become as one of those names where, do you remember that Whittaker? Man, he was one of the best. That's all I want, to people to say, like, when I'm dead or whatever happens to me, people go, that Whittaker was sick, man. What he used to do in the ring, we'll never see a talent like that. And if I can make that happen, I'm a happy person, you know what I mean? I know we'll get world titles and things like that, but you see, sadly, so many world champions forgotten about. I want to be one of those where my name just lives on, and I'll be happy.
What about outside of boxing?
Outside of boxing, either an idiot, a little cheeky cunt, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But whatever it is, my small circle around me know who I am, so I don't really care about outside of boxing. That's my private life, but boxing, I just want to be known as a person that's took the good fights, performed in the good fights, tried to make the big fights happen, sold out arenas, gone to America, conquered it like Amir Khan, and my ambitions are high, but hopefully I can make it.
Mayor of Wolverhampton one day?
You know what? They keep changing every year, so I'm going to put the pitch in. You know what I mean? And I think, you know what? Because when I said I'll be the mayor of Wolverhampton, I was saying I'm going to give out a PlayStation, a grills, a chain. You know how many kids had messaging me? Bro, so what's happening with this PlayStation situation? I said, bro, I was joking, man. I'm like, oh, man, so many people messaging me is ridiculous, but I got the platform, so why not? You know what I mean?
That's it, mate. And we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to obviously crack on with your training session. I appreciate you doing this interview. It will be the first of many of your professional career, Ben, I'm sure. Anything you'd like to leave on?
Like I said, July's the start of something special. I'm in the gym, as you can see, got the wraps, well, the tape on. I'm just working and learning on new things, and hopefully it's the start of something special, man.
Yeah, Ben's mum isn't here to do the rest of his raps, unfortunately.
Shut up, man, shut up. She's at home now, probably prepping my meals, bless her. But actually, I go into like the house camp at the end of the week, so I'm gonna have to get them delivered or something. You know what I mean? I have to tuck myself into bed. It's gonna be upsetting, but that's camp life for you, man.
Right, Ben. Well, we will leave it there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day in this training session. It's been a pleasure to do this. Thank you for speaking to me on Boxing Social.
Alright, thank you very much, man.